Good afternoon. Good afternoon. If I can have everyone's attention, please. Shh. That used to work, like when I was younger. I don't know. Shh. May I have everyone's attention, please? Good afternoon. Good afternoon. My name is Kelley Cornish. I am the president and CEO of the TD Jakes Foundation. And yes, thank you so much. Thank you, thank you, thank you. If you have attended and have been enjoying the session, please clap. The sessions, yes. Awesome, that's wonderful. We have a few more. If I can get you guys to come in and get seated. We have a wonderful, wonderful opportunity to hear from some amazing people in the space around HBCUs, our historically Black colleges and universities. We welcome you to this legend and premier luncheon. This is one that is hosted by the TD Jakes Foundation. So on behalf of our chairman, TD Jakes, I welcome you all here. And if we can just have you guys' attention for about 20, 25 minutes, that would be wonderful, wonderful, wonderful. If we have time, we'll also open it up for questions. So I know it's a little hard to hear probably because we're out here, but I just welcome you to just enjoy your lunch, but focus on us just for a little bit. And I'm gonna get started. So again, my name is Kelley Cornish, and I have some amazing guests before I take my seat that I would like to introduce to you. But before I do that, today's conversation is empowering change, the role of HBCUs in nurturing future entrepreneurs and social impact leaders. So we have a group of HBCU students that have been attending. If they can raise their hands, let's give them a hand. They are our future. They are our future, and they have learned a lot. It's just so good to see the baton being passed on to the next generation. So we are just encouraged about what we see and who they are. So welcome. So we all know that HBCUs play a pivotal role in shaping the future of entrepreneurship and social impact, especially within our communities. Just a few facts for you, and probably the people on this panel, they will correct me if I'm wrong, but we found some stats. Some of them are a little old, but I still think they apply to the conversation. So did you know that there are 107 accredited HBCUs operating in the United States today, educating 250,000 of our Black students? Let's give them a hand for that. Yes. These institutions are responsible for almost 20% of the degrees earned by Black students in STEM, in the fields of science, technology, education, and math. Let's give them another hand for that. Our future doctors and engineers. Moreover, HBCUs produce 80% of Black judges, 50% of Black doctors, and 50% of Black lawyers. Let's give them a hand for that. Yes. And most notably, I just have to go through the list of some amazing people who have attended HBCUs. Of course, our Vice President of the United States, Kamala Harris from Howard University. Woo, woo, yes, yes. Also, the illustrious Stacey Abrams went to Spelman College, influential politician and voting rights activist. Yes, Stacey Abrams. A couple of more. Of course, the legendary Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. attended Morehouse College, iconic civil rights leader. Let's give him a hand, yes. Oprah Winfrey went to Tennessee State University, our media mogul and philanthropist, Oprah Winfrey. Also, Katherine Johnson went to West Virginia State College, a mathematician whose work was critical to the US space missions. And Chadwick Boseman, Howard University, acclaimed actor known for his roles in Black Panther and 42. Yes, and the list goes on and on. And most notably, locally, Opal Lee attended Wiley University, the grandmother of Juneteenth. So when you think about our history in our country and around the world, HBCUs have changed the atmosphere of who we are and who we continue to be as a community. So with that, Today, I'm honored to be joined by my friends and partners in this very important work. So I want to introduce this dream panel and just hope that you all will give them your full attention for the next few minutes. And so I'll ask them to wave as I call their name. Dr. Michael Sorrell, the president of Paul Quinn College, renowned for his innovative leadership and transformative initiatives in higher education. Dr. Sorrell, yes, yes. Dr. Herman Felton, the president of Wiley University, known for his bold vision and substantial contributions to educational administration. And then also joining us is Dr. Natasha Gresham. She's the director of the Center for Counseling and Behavioral Health at the Potter's House and a leading expert in mental health and counseling. And finally, an awesome friend, Dr. Troy Duffie. He's director of the Center for Financial Markets at the Milken Institute with extensive experience in venture capital and social impact investing. Welcome our panel. Okay, whoever designs panel discussions, they do not have women in mind. I just want you to know that. When they bring out I called my assistant, I said, what are we sitting on, right? That's just, men don't have to worry about that, but women have to worry about that. So here we go. I'm gonna try my best here. But seriously, we're gonna talk about, thank you, just this discussion of how important, and I think we've seen like a resurrection of HBCUs over the past few years, post George Floyd, and it's awesome to see. I always say that our communities were built off of our churches and our HBCUs, and they continue both to be a driving force in the Black community. So with that, we're gonna ask a few questions. If I can get started here. All right. We're going to start with Dr. Sorrell. And the question for Dr. Sorrell is, how have HBCUs, particularly Paul Quinn College, reimagined higher education to better serve today's students and their communities?
Well, thank you for the question, and thank you for everything that you and the foundation and the Potter's House in general is doing for this community. All of them show up in ways that are necessary and important, and we appreciate you. So can we please give them a hand? Now to answer your question, whether you realize it or not, the current system of higher education, the way schools are talking about wraparound services, that came from historically Black colleges and universities. Now, you will never hear PWIs give us credit for that, but let's take a walk from a historical perspective. Historically Black colleges were created because 4 million individuals were released from slavery and needed a pathway to be welcomed into American citizenry. There was no vehicle for accomplishing that. People walked off plantations. They did not have money for tuition. They did not know how to read. They did not know how to write. They did not get the 40 acres and a mule. So we needed a path forward. The schools were created, and many of them were created as high schools, elementary schools, and colleges all wrapped into one. The entire idea of wraparound services were what our historically Black colleges and universities had to be to lift our people out of the shadows of slavery. So that model of tending to the needs of students in an extraordinary way, that came from us. Now, when you look forward, what historically Black colleges are at their very, very best, we speak to the needs of our communities in a very direct and honest way. We are safe harbors. Now, what's interesting is we as Black people have always understood that our Black church is the safest of safe harbors. It's the place where we recognize we can go and be ourselves. But somewhere along the line, we have come to view Black colleges for far too long as being less than, as places we settled for. That's not who we are. And the beauty of this era of American society is that families are being forced to recognize that why would you send your children to places that make room for them instead of sending them to the places that were built for them?
Yes.
Right? Send them home. Send them to places where we know whose they are and who they are. And that's what we at Paul Quinn strive to do. We created the urban work college model because too many black families are living in poverty. And people tell you education is the way out of poverty. Money is the way out of poverty.
Amen.
So we're going to give people access to higher paying jobs. I'll talk more about this, but it is an honor to be able to speak to the needs of your people directly and unapologetically. And that's what we have always done and will continue to do.
Thank you. Thank you. Let's give Dr. Sorrell a hand. Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. I love that. And another fact around HBCUs educate 75% of black students and play a critical role in their communities, to his point. So the need is great. So thank you, Dr. Sorrell. Move on to Dr. Felton from Wiley University. Can you share how Wiley University fosters an entrepreneurial mindset amongst its students?
Sure. Thank you first, Kelley, and to the Potter's House and the amazing vision of the bishop, and to my colleagues. It's an honor to be here with you. I think, Michael, really, we could insert what he just said and really build on that by what we have to do at our institutions is really, we're forced to really move in a direction that would dictate that we're cognizant of where the world is going and what is needed right now. We know that most of our kids walking across our campus, when you have a conversation with them, you ask what is it that they're studying. They will tell you that, but implicit in that is ownership, entrepreneurship. And so we really looked at our curriculum and really took a hard look at whether or not it was an antiquated model, whether we were doing what everyone else was doing, or whether or not we were able to do something that we could do and should do, which is really meet our students where they are. And so out of that, the idea that entrepreneurship is a necessary component of your education is where we are at Wiley University now. We really want to enhance what these kids come to our institutions with inherently. We are, as a people, innovative. The ingenuity that we were born into, just comes out of our pore. And the quick answer is that we've shaped our curriculum to force each of our students to have a semester of education around entrepreneurship.
Wow.
So it's an elective, but it's required for every student, and it gives them the entrepreneurial mindset. Even if you don't have the stomach to be an entrepreneur,
absolutely,
you at least get to understand what it means to have that mindset. And I think we have to really re-examine these whole first 21 years of going to school, laboring for 40 years, and then whatever is left, you figuring out how you live. We've got to help equip young men and women how to take their rightful place in the global society by doing for them in their prime years what they could be doing for others.
I love that. I love that. Yes, let's give him a hand. You know, what's so interesting about that, and I attended a PWI. I was the first in my family not to go to a HBCU. And really, it was because my brother and I were going to school at the same time. And it was like, wherever we got scholarship money, that's where we had to go. So he ended up going to South Carolina State, and I went to the University of South Carolina. But what I learned through that experience is we were always taught to work for someone else. When you go to work, this is what you do. You know, we weren't taught to work for ourselves. And what was so interesting is I think back, the professors that were teaching me, they worked for someone else. So, that was their mindset. And so it's so good to see it shifting because it's all in what you're learning and it's all in what you're exposed to. So I totally agree, and I'm excited to see that Wiley is really making it part of the conversation around entrepreneurship. If you can get introduced, the earlier you're introduced to it, like anything else, it'll make a difference in your life. So thank you so much. We're in a huge era of starting to open up and deal with mental health. And so our millennials, our Gen Zs, the ones that are in college, the ones who graduated this year from college are the ones who started their freshman year in the middle of the pandemic. The pandemic, I think, happened, if I'm not mistaken, in 2020, right? So they were either coming in or it was a whole, did they start on time? Am I right? Are you guys all right? Okay, that's my table. So when we talk about mental health, and this is for Dr. Natasha Gresham, and for us who have to work with these students who have had such an interesting experience in their life so early, traumatic really for some, what mental preparations are essential for students aspiring to become entrepreneurs, and how does your center, the work that you do, support these needs?
Once again, thank you for having us here today. This is such a needful conversation, and it's a personal conversation because my husband is a Morehouse graduate. My daughter is a 2-time HBCU graduate. So this is a personal conversation for me. And when you're talking about mental health, I like to break down mental health. Mental health is how you live, how you love, and how you laugh. That is mental health. And what better place to do that for our young people than home, as Dr. Sorrell said, home. HBCUs have the distinct honor of being able to nurture in a way that other institutions can't. And studies show, the University of Minnesota did a study. They followed 500 African American students from high school through college in 7 years after they graduated. And the ones that went to HBCUs didn't have depression, didn't have social anxiety, and they were doing better in life overall. So there's an impact that HBCUs are making on our children. And so mental health is essential. Everything that we've been talking about today is mental health. It starts with how you think, how you perceive, how you are perceived in the world. That is mental health. So we foster that, we support HBCUs, we offer free counseling services to students. You do not have to be a member of the Potter's House, you do not have to attend our services. Our services are 100% free to anybody that wants them.
Wow, wow, wow. Did you all hear that? Did you all know that? Yes, yes. And again, just another opportunity where you see where the church plays such a crucial role in the development of communities. So I call her Dr. Natasha, my friend, thank you for your leadership in that. Another fact here, nearly 40% of HBCU students are first-generation college students, emphasizing the need for comprehensive support systems. 40% are first generation, which means we still have a lot of work to do in the communities. And so that's really, really helpful. Now I want to turn to my friend, Mr. Duffie. Troy Duffie. And again, with Milken, a huge financial mind background. If you don't know about Milken Institute, I really encourage you to learn more about it. It is a game changer. The foundation has partnered with them to send HBCU students through their programming. So this question is for Mr. Duffie. How does social impact investing align with the missions of HBCUs, and what opportunities does it present for students?
Thank you so much, Kelley, for the question. I just want to say what Greg Bell said. Thank you so much for having us. It's an absolute pleasure to be here. TJ's Foundation has been an incredible partner for our HBCU program. I'll get into that in a moment. First things first, are there any bakers in the house, like cake bakers, cookie bakers? Not store-bought, any from scratch, any bakers in the house? Raise your hands high. Raise your hands high. Okay, I see you. I want to make sure I come and find you for cake afterwards. But listen, the financial institution is a fully baked cake. and it's a cake that didn't include our ingredients. The financial, and we think, oh, Wall Street is not for us, financing is not for us, loans are not for us, because for over 400 years, we have been systematically locked out of it. And so it's really hard to be an entrepreneur if you never have capital. It's really hard to start a business if you've never had capital. It's really hard to do anything in this system when you haven't had access to it for hundreds of years, and there's a level of distrust. And so what we're trying to do is not, what a lot of folks have tried to do. When you bake a cake and you forget to leave out the sugar, you cannot just pour sugar on top. You have to start over. You have to reimagine what the cake looks like, what the cake is going to taste like. You have to reimagine and throw the cake away and say, hey, we got to build a new system. And so much of what we're doing is making sure that our HBCU students have a chance at being a part of this new cake. I'll tell you about our program. We take HBCU students from across the country, 14 HBCUs, what we consider regionally diverse HBCUs. So we mentioned Howard, we mentioned Morehouse, we mentioned Spelman. We want to be partners with places like Wiley College and Paul Quinn. We are partnered at Lincoln University in Missouri, at Alabama State University, at Central State University in Ohio, right? Schools that are outside of the normal bounds of what are considered successful by Wall Street standards, and are giving them a chance to understand what it means to be in financial markets. We explain over an 8-week period what private equity is, what hedge funds are, what venture capital is. We give them Excel training, and then they're with us for 8 months. So they get trained with us for 8 weeks, they're with us for 8 months. They're able to go to conferences like this one, they're able to go to the Milken Institute Global Conference, able to go to Wall Street themselves, to see themselves in the space, to know that they're not sugar on top, that they're gonna be a part of the baking of our system. And it goes back to social impact investing. How many of you have ever been taught by a teacher? How many of you have ever had a teacher? Your teacher had a pension plan, and that pension plan was invested by somebody. If you've ever been helped by a firefighter or a police officer or a crosswalker, you ever had to go to the DMV and somebody had to help you get your license, all of those people had pension plans. Those are billions and billions and billions and often trillions of dollars that are being invested by people who don't look like you and are not investing in your communities. But if you change the consistency of the cake, you'll get a different outcome. And so we're making sure to change the system from the ground up to make sure students have opportunities. And we're doing all the work we can to advocate that our system changes. And so that's how we get into social impact investing, to make sure that how you're investing has a huge impact. And I'll stop there, but it's an incredible opportunity to be here.
Oh, I love it. Yes, let's give them a hand. Again, this is when we heard from the Fearless Fund yesterday, talking about some of the same information. And so we have got to take this back to our communities, back to our youth, back to our students. I feel like what they get at HBCUs and through the partnerships of HBCUs is priceless. You just do not get it from a PWI. And so really this conversation is really to stir that up. Everyone knows someone thinking about going to college. And I'm gonna talk about a little bit more about some of the challenges, but I do have another question for Dr. Natasha. From a mental health perspective, what are some of the key psychological challenges that aspiring entrepreneurs face, and how can HBCUs support their students in overcoming these challenges?
I think it's what we've heard already from our panelists, is that you haven't been exposed to that space before. You may be the first one in your family, and that can be scary. And I'll take it a step further. There's a PWI Institute here, an amazing school, SMU, and they had college athletes that were not doing well. And they have a full service counseling center on their campus that's amazing, with amazing people. However, they weren't connecting to the students. And so they came over to our counseling center and said, can you work with these students? We want them to graduate. And I said, absolutely. And when I went over there, they looked like me. Wow. They were young men that looked like me. And I said, why haven't you connected to the counseling center here? And they said, they don't understand us. There's a gap, and some things we can tell you, we can't tell them. Some things are understood.
Yeah.
And that's mental health, okay? And I'm proud to say, so that's a PWI that has amazing resources, but they couldn't do it without us.
Right.
So we're never less than. We're never less than. Okay, we have the same capabilities, the same talents, but we have to train our children just like they train their children.
Yeah.
That you're not coming in on a deficit,
Right.
that you deserve to be here and that your voice matters. And no matter how you show up in the world, you make a difference. You're impactful, and that's
Yes.
mental health. So supporting entrepreneurs and exposing them. I like what Mr. Troy said about having that exposure for 8 weeks and 8 months. They're exposed to something new. When you see it, you can be it.
Absolutely.
And so I think it's critical that we have things like this and that we invite them in to see it, to see people that are in different spaces and in different spheres, that you don't just have to throw a ball or sing.
Right.
You can do other things. And so I'm thankful to the foundation. I'm thankful to you that you saw this and that you have a vision for our future because it contains our students.
Amen. Thank you so much.
Can I just say
Yes.
one thing about that? We cannot be surprised that when we send our children into hostile spaces, they feel hostility. So then when we ask them to feel safe in hostile places, it doesn't resonate. I have so much respect for SMU, good people.
Absolutely, absolutely.
But SMU is in the Park Cities. You have to understand the history of Dallas. The Park Cities are separate municipalities created so that the individuals in the Park Cities don't have to go to school in DISD. Now, why would that be the case? I'm gonna let y'all figure that one out, right?
But absolutely, and that's what the students several years later are still feeling. They still feel that. It's institutionalized.
Right.
And I'm proud to say, out of the 19 students we served, 18 graduated.
Well, and so this is my point. Imagine if they don't have you, right? I mean, imagine, because the path forward still came through our community.
Absolutely.
It came through reconnecting with the Black church.
Absolutely.
So someone there had the understanding and the cultural competency to say, we can't solve this one.
Exactly.
We're going to need to go to the places.
They had to come find the brown sugar.
That's
right.
exactly right. That's exactly
That's
right.
right.
So
That's
God bless you, right? God bless you.
I love it. I love it. We are, oh my gosh. And we don't have time. I wish I had, I can be a preacher now. I wish I had time. You know when they say that? I always want to say that. But anyway, really, it's so much to talk about. And what I want this audience to think about, because I'm going to ask, especially the presidents of the university and then go to Troy, I hear some staggering statistics around. We have so many students that apply to HBCUs that can't go to HBCUs because they don't have the infrastructure for our kids to go to HBCUs. They don't have the housing for them to get into. So some people are like, well, our kids don't go to HBCUs. They want to go. And I want to talk about kind of like the pent-up demand right now for that and some of the biggest challenges that you all see around keeping these institutions alive and what we can do to help them continue to be a part of the history of our communities. So I'll start with you, Dr. Felton.
Yeah, I think our problem is we've been lulled into this false sense of security. I don't know what the flashpoint is. I don't know if it was desegregation or whatever it is, but we now work under the auspices that the HBCU is different, meaning deficient. And we do that without context. Why do we even have HBCUs, right? So for those, the detractors, that's the first question that they should start with. And second, we talk about, well, their infrastructure is bad, or they're always needing this. Well, do you really want to break that down, right? When we talk about systemic racial injustices that find themselves in every fabric of America. These are institutions that started a mile back in the race, and you don't need to look further. There was a time when you had to read between the lines. Well, now, University, the Mississippi situation, back in 2000, Jake Ayers found that the black colleges were $1 billion in deficit. Tennessee State, we just found in Tennessee, $1 billion in deficit from what they are owed. The Maryland system, it's across the board. So we don't have the infrastructure, one, because our alums leave with all their little money and go about their business and forget where, things really happen for them, number one. Number two, the systemic racial injustices finds us in the state house and the federal situation. We're a lot better than we were, but right now in Texas, we're doing a study. The private PWIs have received almost $2 billion from the state. The 5 HBCUs from the state of Texas have not received anywhere near $2 million, right? So it's a design to keep us in this place where we shouldn't be. But I have to tell you, I just left Accra, Ghana, and I took a month to prepare myself for the hatred that I would have after going through the slave castles, etc. I have never been more proud to be the progeny of the enslaved because of how things were made at the very beginning and where we are today. But there's one thing that I know is that we haven't done enough, and we don't do enough, and I don't know what the answer to that is, but I will say this as I pass the mic. If the answers to the solution are within the network, meaning the black folk.
This room.
If we do not come for ourselves, then we have to fall back on the poet Pogo. We have found the enemy, and it is us.
Wow. Amen. Amen. Yeah, we can clap to that because it's right. We have, and I am, as I get more senior, working 37, almost 40 years now, you have to decide what you're going to stand for at some point in your career. If you're going to be spending your time, is it on something that will last beyond you? And that's what I love about Chairman Jakes. That's his life story, his family's life story. I want something in the earth to last beyond me. For me, it is HBCUs, because if it wasn't for them, I would not have eaten, because my family went to HBCUs. And I beg you, as we begin to wrap this up, and this was intentional to have this sponsored by the T.D. Jakes Foundation. Everyone has a little card on their table with the QR code that will take you to our website. We pour into HBCUs financially through the work that we do, as well as with our partner Wells Fargo. And I really, even if it's $19 a month for a year, you are helping to make a difference. You might not be able to go and build a building at a HBCU, but just know that the little bit you give, if we give to us, we can recycle it back to the people who need it. So I do want to encourage you, we've left some information for you to just take and read at your leisure, but this is the work that we're doing to help these HBCUs continue to be the best that they are. And with that, I want to turn to Troy, and then I'm going to have Dr. Natasha and Dr. Sorrell give us some closing remarks. But Troy, when I think about the work that you're doing with Milken, I think it's important for you to talk about Milken and just the whole philosophy around Milken. And now you talked about the HBCU track, but you guys need to understand just the whole concept around Milken. And I just want you to share that and to understand that there are partners that are not from our communities that's helping to shape and pour back into us. So it's our job to do the same. So Troy, will you speak on that?
I think it's an excellent point. Dr. Felton, you brought up so many excellent points I want to hit on and come to your question, Kelley. I think this narrative that HBCUs are deficient is devoid of the context that you provided, the historical context, but it deprives us of the other narrative that like HBCUs are great returns on investment.
Yes.
When we say, oh my gosh, HBCUs don't have enough, look at what they've done with what they have.
Yes, that's good.
With the endowments that they have, collectively being under Harvard's by 10x, right? Look at the people they've educated. Look at Thurgood Marshall, look at Vice President Harris, look at Martin Luther King, look at the people they produced. Look at you read the stats earlier, over 50% of Black doctors are HBCU educated. That's less than 3% of college students are educated at HBCUs. So HBCUs are an incredible return on investment. If you're looking for some place to invest in HBCU endowments. You're looking for some place to give to an HBCU because it's gonna come back to you. You're gonna see it in your community. So that's the first thing. And then I think it also deprives us of the narrative that HBCUs have always been in by themselves. And you have to hold up a mirror to people who gave to HBCUs some generations ago to say, we wouldn't be here without you, and we still need you. We still need your money. It's holding their feet to the fire and reminding them that Spelman is named after Spelman Rockefeller, who gave a gift to start the school. It's reminding them that Howard is named after Oliver Otis Howard, and Oliver Otis Howard is the head of the Freedmen's Bureau. It was a federal government program that helped to start Howard University. We need federal dollars to keep these schools going. It's reminding them that schools across the nation were started by United Methodists and the AME Church, and reminding those churches, we still need you. And I'll bring up, as we, Kelley, to your point about people outside of our community, Michael Milken, who's the chairman and founder of the Milken Institute, is known as the junk bond king, was a highly successful person on Wall Street. And what he's best known for in our community is he funded a guy by the name of Reginald Lewis. Does anybody know the name Reginald Lewis? If so, raise your hand high.
Reginald Lewis.
Reginald Lewis.
Google him. Yes.
Reginald Lewis is the first African American to do $1 billion deal on Wall Street. It would not have happened. Every bank in the world turned him down. And it wouldn't have happened unless somebody by the name of Michael Milken said, Reginald is not just the smartest black guy in the room, he's the smartest guy in the room, and it's a crime that he doesn't get capital. And wrote him a $1 billion check from Drexel. And he would go on to do that for a number of other folks on Wall Street, including a number of women, and received, this is in the 70s, received death threats for giving Reginald Lewis billions of dollars. Right? Reginald would go on to sell the company and passed away tragically at some point. But I want to tell the narrative that the Milken Institute is building and has built itself in that mold, on going out and taking communities that don't know each other and connecting them. We believe in what we call the power of convening. We have a conference every year, 5,000 individuals, 1,000 speakers this year. Former President Bill Clinton spoke, Chairman T.D. Jakes spoke, Elon Musk spoke, a number of people from across the world who don't know each other. And we bring them together, and we want to provide platforms for people of color and platforms for HBCU students to speak and to get involved in this conference. Over 35% of our speakers were people of color this year. And that's unheard of at a financial conference this size. It's unheard of at a financial conference that connects people like this. And so we strive every single day to do that. Our biggest things, we're a nonprofit, nonpartisan think tank, is health, philanthropy, and finance. And we want to create a better world.
Thank you so much. And so we're getting to the end here, and I know we could go on forever. Are you guys enjoying this? Was this informative? Thank you for your legacy. Thank you for you all investing in the Good Soil Conference at the level that you did to get you into this room, because we know that you understand what it means to invest into good soil in all aspects. So with that, I'm going to have Dr. Sorrell and Dr. Natasha just give us some closing words. I think you go first, sir.
My mother would never let me do that.
All right. In closing, I just want to say we have to make this a priority. I know a lot of times in our communities, we make other things priorities, but if you can get a Gucci or a Louis, you can go fund at HBCU. You can support, even as Kelley said, $19 a month. Whatever you can do on your level. And once again, I'm here because my husband is an HBCU graduate. Both my daughters are HBCU graduates. So it is a return on investment. So think about that. The next time you're thinking, what can I do for legacy? What do I need to do for legacy? Think about your HBCUs.
Thank you.
You know, I believe in calls to action. So I'm going to leave you with a very, very simple call to action. Go to your website, go to your phones, go to your computers, type in Paul Quinn College, type in Wiley University, go to our websites. There are give buttons or invest buttons on those websites, and give, right? We're not going to make this complicated. We're not going to make this too involved. Donate to our institutions. You can pick where you want the money to go. It can go to scholarships. It can go to annual fund. But the reality of it is, it doesn't take a $10 million gift to get started. All we're asking is that you invest in the future of our people, right? We over me is the institutional ethos of Paul Quinn College. The needs of a community supersede the wants of an individual. You want Gucci. You need each other. Support the things you need. Support your community. And then hold us accountable. We're not asking for blank checks. I mean, we love blank checks, don't get me wrong. But we would love to be held accountable. Let's create a relationship. You will be surprised what you will find, and you will love what you find.
Amen. Thank you so much. That was amazing. And, like I said earlier, on behalf of Chairman Jakes, we're just excited about these kind of conversations, right? And whether you give through the T.D. Jakes Foundation, whether you give through one of the colleges, Paul Quinn or Wiley University, just give. And tell your friends to give. And if you want to give somebody something as a gift, give it in honor of something. They don't need anything else, believe me when I tell you. So do something that will keep the legacy going. That's what we need. So let's, again, give our panelists a hand. Dr. Natasha, Dr. Sorrell, Dr. Felton, Mr. Duffie. And again, on behalf of Chairman Jakes, we just thank you so very much. We appreciate you taking the time to listen. Hopefully you'll talk about it at your tables. If you have questions, we have the T.D. Jakes booth downstairs. A few of us are here. I encourage you to take the information on your seats and just spread the word. We're trying to do some good work in the earth, all right? All right, so again, thank you all so much and enjoy the rest of your afternoon in the conference. Thanks.